there everybody, and welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this fabulous waffle stitch granny square. Now, like all granny squares, they're worked up in the round. Now once we get going, you will see that this is quite a simple stitch. It's literally going to be a 2 round repeat. So you could use this stitch. This works up fabulously for baby blankets. You could make one big square. All you do is just keep going out and out and out, or you could make lots of little squares and then sew them up together. As always, just for a practice, you could make this up in cotton and turn it into a nice washcloth. Now, the waffle stitch granny has quite a distinctive front, and then let me show you back. So you can see the front is made up of these waffle little boxes here, hence the name, and then the back is more like made up in lines. And as you find out, in between each round we actually flip our work. That's how we get the waffle design. Now, just for reference, I do have a video tutorial where I show you just the basic waffle stitch. I will link that video down below. It may be beneficial to watch that beforehand, but not essential, as I will go over the stitches again for you. Now, this example I've made up in a DK weight yarn. This is Stylecraft Special DK in the colourway Fondant, but I'm going to show you using this again, Stylecraft Special DK. This is in the colourway Lavender. Now, normally with this weight yarn I would use a 4mm hook, but today I'm going to be using a 4.5mm hook. This is just going to make our waffle just a little bit looser. Okay, so I use my Clover hooks, which are my favourite hooks to use. I will pop a link to those down in the description box below. So we're literally going to start off by making our centre here. So to start with, you need to put a slip knot on your hook, so you can do this however you normally do. This is how I do mine. So I just wrap my yarn around, go across those 2 fingers, go under, grab that yarn, take my fingers out, and there we are. We're going to start off with a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then what we're going to do is join this to make a loop. So we're literally going to push our hook through the farthest one from your hook, grab that yarn, pull it through, and the one that's on your hook, and there we have our centre. And we're going to work round 1 in that centre. So I just sort of tighten that loose loop up. Just pull that centre piece apart so you can see it properly. And usually what I do, I hold this tail as I go round and work over that. So this is how we're going to do round 1. So we're going to do a chain 3 up, 1, 2, 3. Now this chain 3 counts as 1 UK treble. That's 1 US double. Now what we're going to do is another UK treble. So just to recap, that's yarn over. We're going to go through that centre, grab our yarn, pull it back through. So we have 1, 2, 3 loops on our hook. Grab the yarn, pull through 2, grab the yarn and pull through 2. So we now in effect have 1, 2 UK trebles. Again, that's US doubles. Now we need to make a corner, so we're going to just chain 2, 1 and 2. Now through this centre again, we're going to put 2 trebles. So that's 1, 2. Okay, so as you can see, I'm holding this tail end around as I go. You don't have to do this at all, it just helps. We don't have to sew so much in at the end. So we've got 2 clusters of 2 trebles. We're going to make a corner of just a chain of 2, 1, 2. We're going to put another cluster of 2 trebles through that centre. So that's 1 and 2. We're going to make another corner, chain of 2, 1, 2. And then we're going to put one more cluster of 2 trebles through that centre. So that's 1 and 2. Okay, so I'm not going to worry now about going over my end. I'm just going to leave that loose. So what we need to do is make one more corner, chain of 2. So now we're going to join round 1. Where we had our original 1, 2, 3 chain up, we're going to join with a slip stitch at the top of that chain 3. So you just push through, grab that yarn and pull it through the one that's on your hook, and we have connected. Now you can pull on that original tail end, and that will close up that centre hole nicely. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4 clusters of 2 trebles and 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. So to start round 2, we are going to flip our work. Then what we're going to do is just put a slip stitch in that first corner. So that just takes us across to the first corner, and now we are in effect working on the back. And as I said before, there's quite a distinctive back and front. Each one will be slightly different, but after a few rounds you're going to get used to this. Now we're going to start by doing a chain of 3, 1, 2 and 3. Now again, this will count as 1 treble stitch. Now in these 2 stitches here, what we're going to do is a front post treble around each of these 2 stitches. So if I just show you a front post treble, yarn over, we're going to go from front round the back, and then we're going to grab the yarn, take it around, and then just work that treble as usual. So that's a front post treble. If you use US terminology, that's a front post double. So again, this post here, yarn over, front to back up at the front again, grab that yarn, pull through, and then work that treble as normal. So I will show you that again in a minute. What we're going to do now is work our corner, and this is how our corners are worked when we are on the back each time. So it's going to be 1 treble in that corner, a chain of 2 and another treble in that same corner. Then going along the side, we're going to be working around these 2 stitches here. We're going to put front post trebles. So yarn over from front to back, around and back up at the front. Grab that yarn, pull it through, work that treble as normal. Here's our next one here. Round, and then work that treble. Now we've come to our next corner. We're going to do 1 treble, a chain of 2 and then 1 treble. Again, going along the side, we're going to do front post treble on each of those 2 stitches. So that's 1 and 2. Now we're at the corner, so it's 1 treble, a chain of 2 and 1 treble. Now, as I say, that's how the corners are worked on the reverse of your work going forwards. Okay, now we have another side here. We're going to do 2 front post trebles. So 1 in that stitch, 1 in that stitch, and then we are back to our corner. Now, where we had our original chain 3 up, that, as I say, counts as 1 treble, but we need to finish this corner by doing 1 treble, a chain of 2, and then we're going to join in that original chain 3 up. So again, find that 1, 2, 3rd chain up and do your slip stitch. Okay, so we finished our round 2 and this is on the reverse. So to start round 3, we're going to again flip our work, and you can see already we just have 1 waffle here. So it'll be quite distinctive when you're on the front because you will have these waffles facing forward. So the front corners are going to be slightly different. What we're going to do again is just slip stitch into that corner. Okay, and then we can start. So we're going to start by chaining 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now this is going to count as 1 treble and then a corner of 2. Now in this same corner we're going to do 2 trebles. So 1 and 2. Now you can see if I show you here, this stitch is slightly facing forward, whereas these 2 stitches are slightly behind. So this stitch here, we want to do a front post treble. In the next 2 stitches, we're going to do just normal trebles in the top of those stitches. And this one here is slightly forward. We're going to do a front post treble. Now we're going to work in this corner here. Now, whenever your work is front facing you, this is how you're going to do your corners. You're going to do 2 trebles, 1 and 2, a chain of 2 and 2 trebles, all in that same corner. Now along this side you have these 4 stitches. This one here is slightly forward, so we're going to do a front post treble. These 2 here are slightly set back, so we're going to do a normal treble in the top of each stitch. This one here is slightly set forward, front post treble. So another corner is going to be 2 trebles, 1 and 2, a chain of 2, 1, 2 and 2 trebles. So just carry along this next side. This one is slightly set forward, these two are slightly set back, and then another one slightly set forward. So it's going to be front post treble, 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 front post treble. Then you need to work this corner, and then I will meet you on this final side here. So to finish round 3, as you can see, I've done my last front post treble on this last side here. Now we get back to the corner where we started. Now if you remember, we had a chain 5, so this chain 2 up here counts as our corner. This chain here counts as our treble, but we still need to do one more treble in that corner before we finish off. So that's one treble, and then again in the top of that 1, 2, 3 chain up, I'm going to do my slip stitch. Now slightly differently, we're going to slip stitch into that corner again before we turn. And that's the end of round 3. So what we're going to do in effect is just repeat rows 2 and 3 over and over again, but I'm going to take you through them one more time. So we're going to flip our work. Now you can see a little bit better now that we are working on the back. So we're going to start with just a chain 3 up. This is how you always start when you're on the back. You can see that the first 2 stitches are slightly set forward, so we're going to do front post trebles around those 2, just a normal treble. Then you've got these 2 that are slightly set forward, so they need front post trebles. The next one is just a normal treble, and so on and so on. And obviously your stitch count as you get bigger and bigger out gets more and more. So we're going to do 2 front post trebles, 1, 2. In that next stitch we're just going to do a normal treble, these 2 are set forward, so that's 2 front post trebles, 1, 2. This one's set back, so that's just a normal treble. These 2 are set forward, so each of those has a front post treble. 1 and 2. So I'll show you the corner again. So this is how your corners always are when you're working on the back. It's just 1 treble, a chain of 2, and then 1 treble. So going along this side, you're going to do exactly the same. So you're starting with 2 front post trebles, treble, 2 front post trebles, treble. You've got the idea. And then when you get to your corners, it's going to be just 1 treble, a chain of 2, 1 treble. So carry on around, and I will meet you at the beginning. So I've gone along my final side and I've completed my front post treble. Now if you remember, we have this chain 3 up here which counts as a treble in this corner, but we need to finish this corner, so we're going to do 1 treble, a chain of 2. We already have this treble here. We just need to do a slip stitch in the top of that chain 3 up, 1, 2, 3, and there we go. So that's how we complete each round when the back of your work is facing you. So now we're going to do round 5. So we're going to just repeat round 3. So this time we flip our work first, then we do a slip stitch into that corner. Okay, now our work is facing forward. So this is the front of our work. So this is how we do each round when your front is facing you. So we're going to start with a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This counts as 1 treble and a corner of 2. So we're going to put another 2 trebles in that corner. 1 and 2. Now this time we start with 1 front post treble, 2 normal trebles, front post treble, 2 normal, front post treble, and so on. And again, the stitch count will increase with each round that you do. So there's my front post, and then I've got 2 just normal trebles in the top of those stitches. So after you've done these rounds a few times, you're just going to get used to which stitch goes where. It's going to be the corners that are different. But you'll just get used to that after you've been round a few times. Okay, so I've got my last front post treble. And because our work is front facing us, we're going to work the corner with 2 trebles. Chain 2 for your corner and 2 trebles. 1 and my yarn sticking, sorry about that. And then we're going to work all the way around. So carry on. Start with a front post treble, then you've got 2 normal, front post, 2 normal. When you get to your corner, it's going to be 2 trebles, chain of 2, 2 trebles, and again I will meet you around here. So I've completed my final side. I've put my front post treble in. I just need to complete this corner here. So if you remember, we had the chain 5, which counts as 1 treble, and my chain of 2, but I need to put 1 more treble in before fastening off. Okay, so it's 1, 2 in that 3rd chain up. I'm going to do a slip stitch. Now I'm just going to fasten mine off. Cut my yarn. And there we go. So basically, to build your square out and out, you're just going to repeat rows 2 and 3. So for the next row, what you would do is once you've flipped, you're working on the back. So in those corners, you're literally doing 1 treble, chain of 2, 1 treble in each corner. When you're working on the front, you're starting with a chain of 5. You're putting 2 trebles, a chain of 2, 2 trebles in each corner. That's basically the difference of each row. So there you go. I do hope that that was reasonably clear. I mean, once you get going and you get used to which side you're facing, then it just becomes automatic. So do let me know how you get on making this Waffle Granny Square. If you did find this tutorial helpful, then please do give me a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed down below, and I will see you here next time. Bye bye.